Well, good afternoon, everybody. Are we all doing well? You guys are looking great, full of smiles, full of eyes. It's fantastic. Well, we'll get our waves over and done with now, will we? We'll give everyone a wave. Go on, give them a wave. There we go. Hello, mums and dads and grannies and grandads and aunties and uncles and everybody. It is so good to see you. Folks, welcome to the first of our normal services back in Nettlefield. Last year we had our Christmas carol service. It was under very different circumstances. Everyone was spaced out. It was all very strict. But we are just so glad to get this started this year and to welcome you to our very first harvest service. So P3 and P4, they have been well prepared for this. And I have heard some of the songs, and oh my goodness, they are amazing. You will really enjoy it. But before we go any further, and I hand over to Mrs. Maxwell, I need to let you know that there are no fire drills planned for this afternoon. If you hear one, it's real. So you need to make sure that you're looking for the nearest fire exits, and there are the doors with a green sign above it. And you'll see the wee exit points here, here, and here. And gas masks of all the things you get in the plane. So there's no fire drill planned. The other wee thing is you are so welcome to take photos. You're so welcome to take videos. What we would ask is please don't share them to social media unless it is only your child in them. So if there's anybody else's child, we don't have permission for that. So you need to make sure that you're not sharing anything any photos of children belonging to any other families. So they will be our two big things. Our third thing is just enjoy it. P3 and P4 have worked so hard, and we can't wait to share this with you. So without any further ado, P3 and P4, let's get harvest on the go.
Exodus chapter 23, verse 16. Celebrate the festival of harvest with the first fruits of the crops you sow in your field. Celebrate the festival of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in your crops from the field. harvest time. As summer turns into autumn, it's harvest time again. Crops need picking quickly before the winter rains. It's harvest time. Grandpa in his garden picking tomatoes and birds and beans. We eat them for our dinner with all of our greens. It's harvest time. Tractors in the fields, working all day, collecting every cabbage and baling up the hay. Harvest time. Berries in the hedgerows, apples on the trees. Grandma puts them in a pie. It's tasty for our tea. It's harvest time. Harvest time is lots of work, but can be made fun too. We thank our God for crops and plants that we will feed me and you. It's harvest time. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 19. When you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back to get it. Leave it for the forager and the fatherless and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands.
Mums and dads, just before we sing our next piece, I wanted to thank you on behalf of the teachers for working so hard with your children. You'll see that the two songs that we're doing, there's an awful lot of words in them. They're very wordy. And thank you for working so hard with them at home. What I've really enjoyed in the mornings is P3 coming in and singing their songs, and then we're having to say, no, we need to focus on literacy, but we're still singing harvest songs, but then, no, we need to focus on numeracy, and then we're still singing harvest songs on the way out the door. So thank you very much for that. We wouldn't be able to do anything without the support from you guys at home. The junior choir is also very excited that we're newly formed. This is the first junior choir we've been able to have for about 4 years. So if we can give a big cheer for that. And we're not only excited about Harvest, but we are very excited about doing our full carol service this year, where the junior choir will be taking part. Our senior choir will be taking part. We've already started rehearsals. Our brass group has already started rehearsing as well. They're back at school at the minute rehearsing with Mr. Johnson. And we are, of course, going to have our P2 Nativity happening again. So please come back and hear us at Christmas. We're very much looking forward to you being part of that. And we're going to make sure the children in school are getting to see it as well. So we think we're going to have 2 this year, Mr. McLean, isn't that right? Yeah, we're going to run 2 days of the carol service this year. And we'll be doing stuff in the new year as well. So please keep an eye out for us. And if we keep going, junior choir, I think we'll have to produce a CD or something, won't we? Yeah? Well, I'm excited about that. They don't seem excited about that. But folks, we would like to now sing for you our Harvest Samba. Harvest is about celebrating. It's about Thanksgiving. And we're going to hear from Charlene very shortly, a short message about that. So P3 and 4 want to celebrate with you our harvest. And we present to you our Harvest Samba.
Apricots and plums, ripening in the
Okay, folks, we're going to hand over now to Charlene. Charlene has been very good. Charlene puts in an awful lot of work in the background. She comes to the church on cold, wet days so we can get in to rehearse. She sits at the back. She makes sure we have everything we need. And she's done that only not for the harvest, but every single year for the P2 Nativity. So, Charlene, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I mean, this is where I work, so it'd be really awkward if I wasn't here, but that's good. Sorry, I'm up here because normally I stand there, but I didn't want to accidentally stand on anybody's head, especially after all that lovely singing. How great were they today? You guys are fantastic. I've heard your rehearsals, and I have to say that is the best performance that they've ever done. Could we give them another clap? That was just fantastic. Woo! And guys, we're all super duper proud of you, and I can't wait to hear how the Christmas stuff is going to go. Ooh! So I'm just going to share a very, very short harvest message because there's no way I'm cute enough to catch your attention more than these guys have. And also, my mum hasn't come to video me or anything like you guys have. You're so lucky, by the way. My mum stopped coming a long time ago. But it's just really exciting to be here to share this message. So my name is Charlene, and I work here at Nettlefield and have done so for a very, very long time, it feels. And one of my roles here at Nettlefield is that I get to help out with Nettlefield as many times as I can. And it's just so lovely being there because I used to go to Nettlefield, so it's kind of really cool for me. So those are a little few facts about me, but I do have a few more. One of the most important things that you need to know about me is my love of bread. I am a bread girly. I love bread. Give me a French baguette, give me a sourdough, give me a tiger loaf. I love bread. You know that guy, the kid that loves corn? He's like, it's corn, a big lump of nuts, it's got the juice. Yeah, they're singing a little bit. And I'm the same whenever it comes to bread. It is fantastic. And at Harvest, we say thank you to God for how he has provided lots of good things for us to eat and how he has helped all the farmers in the field and all of the things that give us lots of food. I love that these guys are just loving the spotlight right now. It's so cute. Don't worry, guys. It's not going to get you. Yous are fine. So I love bread. And here's a few facts about bread that maybe you didn't know. So back in the day, bread was used as a type of currency. Can you imagine going to Russell's to buy your meal deal and handing over a loaf? Wouldn't be really very fun. It could also be used to say sorry to people. So you can give someone a loaf of bread if you're really mean to them and you need to say sorry. The ancient Egyptians used to love bread so much that it was buried with them whenever they died. That is real, content bread loveness. I love that. And every year in a little English town called Dorset, they have a competition where they throw bread constantly. It's like a bread Olympics, and they see who can throw their bread the furthest. So bread, it's not just really exciting for me as a bread connoisseur. It's a brilliant thing, and it helps fill our bellies and keep us nice and full. The funny thing about bread is that it's only made from a few ingredients. There's only a few ingredients, and I know that I've talked quite a lot about bread, even though it's something really ordinary. Who's had bread today? Yeah, it's something dead ordinary that we see all the time, but it is something actually really helpful and really special. So on today, which is our Harvest Festival, where we get to say thank you to God, we can say thank you to him for all the lovely bread that he's given us and all the lovely food that he's given us. But bread is such a simple thing. There's only a few ingredients, and they all work together to create something fantastic. And this is one of our verses that we heard read so beautifully today from Deuteronomy. I'm going to read it. I'm definitely not going to be as good as the previous reading. But when you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back and get it. Leave it for the foreigner, the fatherless, the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. And this is the verse that I would like to speak to you guys about for a wee minute or two, which is just lovely that we got to hear it earlier. This verse tells us how important it is that we look after other people. Because not only do we have bread and lots of food and lots of things that we are grateful for to God, we can say thank you to God for all the amazing gifts that he's given us. Now, you guys might be looking at me and thinking, Charlene, I don't have any bread. I'm not a farmer. This is me as a farmer. I just thought it would be helpful as a visual. I'm not a farmer. How am I supposed to help other people? What are we supposed to do that? Well, this verse tells us that maybe if we're not farming in our field, because we're not farmers, we live in East Belfast, there are still lots of good gifts that God has given us, and he wants us to use these good gifts to help other people. And that's just what the verse says. And I know that you guys are fantastic and kind and loving at Nettlefield, aren't we? Yeah. I know that you guys love to help people. So if God gives us all good gifts and we say thank you to him today, and we say thank you for all of the food and all of our homes and all of the things that make our lives so much better, well, think of all the good other gifts that God gives us. I can see a lot of talent in this bunch. We've got some singing talents. I have heard you guys are really, really good at art and maths and lots of things, but you're also really kind people. You're really funny people. You make the world a better place. And all of those good gifts that God has given you, the Bible tells us that we need to share those with other people. Doesn't that make life seem so much better if we can help everybody around us? Doesn't that make everything seem so much better? So what we are given, we have to use to give out. We have to use to help everybody else around us. 1 Peter tells us that God has given each of you a gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another. So today, as we think of harvest, we're also going to think of how we can harvest these gifts that we are given and how we can use them to help the world around us. How do we do that? Okay, well, first of all, we think of ways that we can be kind to each other. Isn't that helpful? We think of ways that we can give what we have to people who don't really have as much. And what we can do is help whoever we can with everything that we've been given. And do you remember earlier when I was talking about bread, got really excited, love a bit of bread? Well, the thing about bread is it's only a couple of ingredients that are mushed together, but all of those ingredients together make something amazing. So whenever I look down in front of me and I see this beautiful junior choir, look at their freshly washed faces, look at all of the talent and wonder in front of me, it makes me think of how fantastic bread is, but also how fantastic it is when all of these good gifts come together, all of your talents, all of your abilities come together, and how they can be used to help other people. Bread is a funny thing in the Bible. Jesus actually calls himself the bread of life. And he says this because he wants people to know that whenever we're feeling sad about the world, whenever we don't feel very satisfied, we can go to him. You know the way whenever you eat like a Subway, you feel really full after? But if you just have like a packet of Haribo, you just feel a bit, ugh. Well, he is saying that he is the bread of life, and that if we're feeling like our lives are empty or that we're not feeling very full, we can go to him and he can help fill our lives up and make us feel really satisfied with our lives. So if you don't know who Jesus is yourself, he tells us that he is the bread of life. So important, he'll keep us satisfied and he'll make sure that our life is full. So thank you so much for listening to my very, very, very short talk. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for sitting so still and not fidgeting. You're fantastic. I would love to pray for everybody. Is that okay? Can you look at this way and I'll show you how to do my funny Charlene prayer? Okay, so what I would love you to do, stick your hands out to the side. Don't hit anybody beside you. Wiggle your fingers. Adults, you can do this as well. You're not that cool. Wiggle your fingers, bring it out in front of you. Wiggle them in front of you. Bring them in like a little T-Rex. Rawr. Rawr. Thank you. Bring them up like a bunny. Beep, beep, beep. Clap your hands on top of your head. Baby shark. We're going to do that, yeah. As we bring our hands down past our eyes, we close our eyes. As we bring our hands down past our mouth, we close our mouth. as we bring our hands down past our heads, we bow our heads, and I'm going to pray until we say amen, which is the end. So, dear God, we thank you so much for all of the food, all of the loveliness that you give us to help sustain our life and to keep us full and happy. God, we thank you for the farmers in the field and all of those people that help take the food from the fields to where we are in our days. God, we thank you that you've given us so, so much, and we are so grateful for every good gift that you give us. Help us to think of people who don't have anything. Help us to use our gifts, our talents, our skills, and our abilities to help the world around us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Fantastic. Thank you so much for listening. I think I'm going to invite Mr. McLean back at this point. I am. Bye.
I'm that loud usually. Oh, I've got it now. I better tone the voice down. Well, didn't it do well? Can we give our big round of applause to Charlene and the boys and girls? But you know, I have to say, it's not at all possible unless we thank the teaching staff and the assistancy staff who have been working with the children non-stop, probably for the past 2 months. As I go down the corridor, all I can start to hear is broccoli and beans. It's great, I love it, and it's just in my head now, which is awesome. And the Harvest Samba is such a great wee song. So can I just say thank you to Mrs. Maxwell, and I see Mrs. Marshall there, Mrs. Keane is with us today, Mrs. Parkinson, we've got Miss McCartney as well, and Mrs. Patton, who have arrived into school this year, and they've just absolutely stepped up. And our assistancy staff as well. I see Mrs. Stevenson there, and Mr. Noor as well. Thank you. I'm trying to catch everybody as I'm looking around frantically going, hope I haven't left anybody out. But if I have, I apologise, and you can shout at me later. I just want to say thank you as well to the guys at Nettlefield. Their hospitality is always second to none. I know that they're right on our doorstep, but they are massive supporters of what we do, and we couldn't do it without you. And even streaming back to school, I know that we have our guys back in school who are watching as well, and we are doing a number of versions of our Christmas service this year because we want to get as many people in, so that's really important for us. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for bringing your children to Nettlefield and enjoying this afternoon. We hope to have a few more things like this as the year opens up, and we'll let you know about that. The last thing to tell you is you need to stay seated at the very end because the children are being picked up from outside. Isn't that right?
Yep. I had thought, Mr. McLean, maybe we should samba again before we go out. Should we? Mums and dads, would you like to hear our samba again? P3-4, should we sing our samba again? Right, up we get.